Hello and welcome back to The Hungry Lamb. My name is Ming Dynasty, and last time we were still facing off against those warriors or whatever officers, and yeah, we managed to get by them because we were like, actually, we're delivering this one girl. We have this, shadow play thing to entertain her along the way, so we're no one suspicious. And they bought it and they took a whole bunch of our food. They're probably not very good people, but at the very least, we survived. So we get to the next village, which is a very sussy village because a lot of people are starving. Seems like they've been cannibalizing their young and their women. And basically, they tried to attack us only to be, too malnourished to actually do anything. So they begged us for food, only for us to be like, no, you tried to kill me. No, I don't care about you. I need to survive. So we leave and go to another town where they have a bathhouse. And it seems like, we're kind of using it. And the girls take a bath first. They're, just kind of chilling, doing all the girl stuff. And then Liang was like, all right, I don't want to seem weak. I want to take one of the girls with me, have her do all the work, and I'm going to take a bath. So right now we're just here. Seems like Monsui's going to ask Liang about his past, and that's exactly what we're doing. But I want to move on from the screen because I am afraid that YouTube might find this a little bit sus, but we'll keep going. Okay, in the 6th year of the Tianqi, about 6 years back, the ground shook in the capital, and then this huge fireball shot up into the sky, darkening everything in an instant. Houses collapsed like dominoes, and over 20,000 folks got turned to dust. Rocks, bodies, and bird corpses fell like rain from the sky. Elephants stampeded in panic, crushing the barely conscious below. Blood stained both the sky and the earth. Yeah, it was terrifying.
でも、りょう様、それが影絵劇と何の関係がありますか?
When the explosion happened, my dad and I were watching a shadow play. Before I could react, the shadow play's white screen was shattered by the blast, sending us flying. I passed out. When I came to, my father's body was gone, just his arm left, lying nearby where I was. Yeah, we saw that before when they were doing the shadow play, and we saw his memory of it, but that is freaking terrifying. I quietly shared the past with Mansui, something I hardly ever told anyone else. She listened without a word, her face showing no emotion like she was picturing it all. Not knowing what was going on through her mind, after a while of silence, I felt awkward and wished I hadn't spilled my gut to this last. Alright, another thing that happened last time was we also went back to Mansui's past. We went back to this event, which was, I think, Swine Demon? Yeah, Sweet Chapter 1, where we kind of talked about, her past again, where her cat ended up being used for food, and her grandma passed away, and her final words were her sharing stories about the Swine Demon and something else. I forgot exactly what. That seems like we're like a fourth way through this game already. Yeah. Forget it. I must be losing it. Why am I even talking to you about this? Get on with your bath. Once we're done, you'll be helping me with the laundry.
わかりました。きれいに洗って差し上げます。
You're still in good spirit, not sweating your own future at all. We're halfway there already, based on what you said before. Once we reach Luoyang, you'll be eaten by the swine demon.
わかっています。だからその日暮らしな生活をしています。
Risking it all for revenge on your sister's killer. Sounds kind of reckless, don't you think? The dead rest easy while the living struggles just to survive. Your sister's gone, and your parents lost enough. Seeking vengeance will only leave your family with one less person. What's the point? I questioned her, and she fell silent for a moment. After a long pause, she finally spoke.
りょう様、私が復讐をやめて落葉に行かないと言ったら逃がしてくれますか?
Nope, need the money. She asked, slowly, awaiting my answer. I'm gonna save here, actually. I'm gonna say no first because I'm curious. No. After a little thought, I simply told her no. Naturally, I didn't think what she said was true, and was more convinced that she had made up a story to fool me. Even if she was telling the truth, it'd be tough for me to help her skip town. Leaving aside whether Tung would agree, just thinking about myself, I won't get paid until I finish the job delivering them. If I didn't get them to their destination, I'd anger Yinsen's boss, lose my cash, and make an enemy. Sacrificing my own gain and taking risks for their sake, all in the name of doing a good deed. It wasn't my style, nor was it the way of a wolf. Monsui's eyes dimmed as she heard my reply. Then she looked away without a word. White mist clouded her expression, making it hard for me to see. After a moment, I caught her soft murmur.
それでもいい。私も安心です。
I watched her from afar, mulling over her words. She probably knew that I couldn't let her go no matter what, knew that she had to go to Luoyang, and was able to avenge her sister's death with peace of mind, right? Poor thing. How could you take revenge all by yourself? Ugh. Wonder if she was telling the truth about the swine demon. The way she acted sometimes made me think that her words weren't completely false. Could her words actually have some truth mixed in? Maybe it wasn't all lies. Before he hit Luoyang, had to find some chance to dig into this. Felt like a lamb was hiding something from me. Yinsan and Tung also seemed to be hiding something. Too many mysteries. Annoying. That's gonna be the end of the chapter. I was that close to the end of the chapter last time. Damn. Alright, chapter 8. Hungry something, I forgot. But I decided to stop because I thought he was gonna go into his past a little bit more, but he just basically TLDR'd me. He's like, yeah, this is what happened. Alright, next topic. Okay, what happens if I say ... I kept quiet, unsure how to answer her. Even if she was telling the truth, I couldn't easily let her escape. Leaving aside where the tongue would agree, just thinking about myself, I won't be... Okay, that part's the same. I wonder if her response is going to be similar. Dimmed and...
それでもいい。
Oh, it is the
私も安心
same.
です。
It's exactly the same. I knew it wasn't going to lead into anything substantial because there was no separate ending. Okay, so right now it's called Hunger and Evil. Ooh, but yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be anything particularly new. That being said, this chapter is called Hunger and Evil. I feel like we finally had a moment to rest and, you know, to relax a little bit, not have to worry about survival in this inn. That was probably going to be our short moment of respite, and then now it's going to be like, oh yeah, shit's going to hit the fan again. Last night, after Mansui and I bathed, we put on some clothes from the inn. After taking the lamps to relieve themselves in the inn's outhouse, I ushered them back to their room. After locking up, I went to bed. And it's the morning. I had the lambs change back into their washed clothes, and that's when Tung showed up at the inn.
Ryo, やっぱり早起きだな。
He was like, bro, I was so pent up, I had a lot of fun yesterday. It's past mid-morning, not exactly early. Why the grin? Back from some fun?
ああ、リキのところに新しい娘たちがいた。そのうち一人はとても美しい。東大の聖子だ。
I don't know who that is. You've seen Sishi?
ない。でもとにかく昨日のあいつは美しかった。子羊はどこにいるんだ？
Just change clothes. They're resting in the room.
じゃあ呼んできてくれ。泉州に行くぞ。
Next location. Let's go. Hey, get out of the room. I yelled at the lambs on the second floor of the inn.
様袴がまだ乾いてなくて冷て
Uh-oh, she's gonna be like, you're awfully friendly now. No respect. No time to fuss. Wear them wet for now. The sun will dry them soon.
はい。
I heard Honger's response. Okay, I'm glad Tung wasn't very, strict about it. Shortly after, the lambs entered the inn's main hall.
ほう、風呂に入ったのか。見違えるようだぞ。
The girls
みん
are
な綺麗になったな。
probably internally thinking, fuck, Tung's back.
はあ、こんなに美味しい仕事でなけりゃ、俺と寮でお前らを山分けしてたのに、一人で二人を嫁にして、
No.
山にこもって子作りだ。
I guess they're bandits, but like, it's against the law. It's illegal. Cut it out with that nonsense. Still stuck on woman?
寮、冗談の通じないやつだな。ああ、そうだ。お前たちに贈り物がある。
Uh-oh. This sounds sus. Goodies?
みんな、こっち来い。
Tung yelled out, and the lambs clustered around him. He tossed a cloth bundle onto the inn's wooden table, then untied the knot securing the cloth. The cloth unfurled at the corners, revealing shiny red candy balls. Oh! He actually did bring them some candy.
来る途中、道端で飴売りを見つけた。それで買ってきたのさ。 ほら、食え。
He grinned, explaining where the candy balls came from and inviting the lambs to grab some. They're like, I don't want them from him. He's very sus. Yeah, they're all like, The lambs looked at each other. They all want the candy, but nobody moved first.
早く取れ。何ぼーっとしてる。一人一個だ。取らないと片付けるぞ。
Monsui gotta lead the girls. He shouted again and pretended to take the candy balls back. Finally unable to resist, Hunger grabbed a piece and gave it to her sister before taking one for herself. Monsui and Qianghua took some as well. The lambs started munching on their candy balls. I've had these candy balls before, once before. Probably sugared up berries, sour and sweet. Loved them as a kid. No wonder why these lambs were all over them. Strange to see the tongue being so nice. I peeked at him. He was watching the lambs eat, a smile in his eyes. Lightly biting his lip, lost in thought as he watched them. This is very suspicious. After the lambs gobbled up the candy balls, we hit the road. Our next stop was Shanzhou. It's even bigger than Huazhou, the busiest place along our journey apart from Luoyang. It'd take us another 3 or 4 days to get there from Wenxiang. We bought some supplies and headed into the mountain east of Wenxiang. As soon as we hit the mountain path, we hardly said a word. After the lambs annoyed me with their chatter yesterday, today's silence made me feel off. Tonight, I'm on first watch. Tongue and the lambs were all asleep. Feeling a bit bored, I strolled over to the luggage hanging off the saddle and pulled out the wooden box with the shadow puppets. It saved us when we ran into those soldiers last time. Since then, Tongue hasn't griped about me carrying this box all along. I mean, yeah. Even though it's kind of a useless thing to bring along the way, once it's proven its worth, it's like, okay, maybe we can use it as a disguise. Yeah, it's got its uses. It saved us once. Let's use it. Let's count our lucky stars and hope that we can continue benefiting from this. Oops. I was planning to buy some donkey hides and sticks in Wenshan, make some puppets to kill time, but rushed too much. Totally forgot. Guess I'll grab them in Shanzhou. Bigger place, more stuff.
りょう様、また木箱を開けていますね。教えましょうか?
As I opened the box of Shadowplay, I heard Monsui's soft voice from behind. I looked at her. Didn't confirm, didn't deny either.
じゃあ、ほどいてくれますか?
She grinned and nodded towards the rope at her waist. Another day of Shadowplay. I helped Monsui undo the rope. Then we found a spot near the camp to do our thing. I picked up the wooden box and started walking ahead, with her following behind.
りょう様。
I hadn't gone far when she called out. What is it?
暗くて、足を踏み外して山から落ちないように、手をつないでくれませんか?
No, don't care.
暗くて、山から落ちてしまうのが怖いから。
She looked up, waiting for my answer. Oh, there's a choice here. There's a, oh right, there's a choice here. Okay, cool. I'm gonna be an ass and decline first. No. Just watch your step. No need to hold hands. I turned down her offer flatly. These roads were pretty level, no chance of tripping on some steep slope. And even if she did take a tumble, I'm close enough to catch her. I've got quick
わ
reflexes.
かりました。では、足元をよく見ます。
She murmured, lowering her head. Then she took the lead and started walking ahead. I walked behind her, keeping an eye out. Right here is good. We walked about 50 steps and found a cliff. We sat down there. Monsui opened a wooden box and started sorting through its contents. Actually, I'm gonna load that choice. What happens if we hold hands? Okay. She reached out her hand, and I started by grabbing her arm, but it was awkward since her arm was short, so I just held her hand directly. Her hand was small, and my palm nearly covered her whole hand. It felt bony with soft skin, but with little flesh, and the bones underneath were clear. Hey, why didn't you ask me to hold your hand when it was dark before?
その時は、りょう様が怒るのではないかと心配していたので、言う勇気がなかったんです。
And now you're not scared?
まだちょっと怖いですが、でも今はりょう様のことが いろいろ分かってきました。
I am not afraid
器
to
が
dish out
大きくて
punishment.
小さいことで怒らない人だって。
You better watch yourself. That lass knew how to talk. Right here is good. We walked about 50 steps and found a cliff. We sat down there. Once we opened the wooden box and started sorting through its content. Did your dad teach you shadow play?
まだ家に食料に余裕があった頃は、夜になるとよく教えてくれました。
She did say that she would want to find a man like her dad. What was he like?
身長は両様と同じくらい。強くて優しくて、村の誰よりも畑仕事を頑張っていました。私にもよくしてくれました。家で一番困っていた時、娘を売るかどうか尋ねてきた人がいたが、お父さんは私を売らず、さらにその人を叱りました。ある時、お父さんの隣で寝てたら、寝言で私のことを言っていました。
Ah, I remember she said she was jealous of her brother because everyone cared about him more, but it seemed like the dad actually loved her as well. The mom seemed really strict. And the grandma seemed also very like, eh.
私が大きくなったら、いい人に嫁いで、一生食べるのに困らないでほしいと願っていました。
Your dad seems like a good man. But I'm a bit confused. If you loved your dad so much, why leave him behind to seek revenge for his sister? I'm gonna guess that something happened to her family where she ended up becoming all alone and she had to find a way to survive. Her eyes were removed from her face.
前に両様に言ったよ。姉の幽霊がずっと私に取り付いて夢に出てくる。私はどうしようもなく、彼女の仇を討つしかない。
I glanced at Mansui, wondering if what she had said about her sister was real or made up. Years of experience gave me a gut feeling. Her stories about her dad felt genuine, but when it came to her sister, I had my doubts. I'm wondering now. Yeah, I didn't even consider the fact that the entire story about her sister might have straight up been a lie. Because the entire time we had our backstory for Mansui, none of the family members, including Mansui, ever mentioned a sister. And now it seems like, you know, it made it sound like they offered her up her sister as a concubine to marry this person, but it seemed like the dad probably wouldn't have wanted that. So, judging from her pause and this statement, I feel like the story about her having a sister might be false. It might be that the quote-unquote swine demon was a person who ruined her family, and she wants to take revenge for her entire family. Maybe they're all dead now because of him, or maybe the swine demon took everything from her village. I don't know. We'll have to see, but that's something to consider.
両様のお父さんはどんな人だった？
He was a very handy man until he didn't have it anymore. Just as I was doubting her words, she asked me a question as well. It's been quite a few years now. I need to think. What sort of man was my dad? He was actually a decent guy. After hesitating for a moment, I gave my dad that kind of evaluation. My mother died early. She passed away when I was born, and he raised me alone, never remarried. He was a trader for years, hauling goods from Henan to Hebei, sometimes even to the capital. I often tagged along. But he had his faults. Two things stood out. First, he couldn't kick the drinking habit. It often got in the way, and when he was drunk, he'd sometimes lash out at me. Left a scar on my arm once when I was young. Second, he was as stubborn as a mule. Being a merchant himself, he insisted that I follow suit. But I wasn't cut out for dealing with people. Wouldn't have done well in business. Oh yeah, he's got that right. His tongue seems to be the people person here, or the person who's able to negotiate, while Yang's just the very stoic, like, I'm gonna freaking do my job type of person. In the days before he passed, we argued plenty about what I should do. Never did come to an agreement. Then, he was gone.
両様は何がしたかったの？
What's it to you? Stop prying. Let's just do a shadow play.
わかりました。
I'm kinda curious. Mansui nodded and helped me get ready for the shadow play. I really like the CG. It just feels very warm. We lit a fire and set up the white screen. She sat behind it, I sat in front. Ah, there we go. She arranged the puppets and took up the sticks to start tonight's show. I wonder if he's gonna get PTSD again. Ah, they're fighting. Once we did the shadow play, and this time I finally heard the 3 hero battles of Lubu all the way through. I didn't stop halfway through to fear, even though my heart still raced, and I sweated when the puppets' weapons clashed. I didn't look away and saw it through. Afterwards, she taught me for another hour. Seeing her look tired and worrying about that tongue might wake up, I suggested that we call it a night. On the way back, we chatted for a bit.
そうだ、りょう様。お知らせしておきたいことがあります。
Yeah?
コウ様は、あの晩外泊してから、様子がおかしいです。
She's saying that he's off. Oh, what is he planning? Oh, I don't know. What do you mean?
明らかに優しくなりました。飴玉をくれたり、怒鳴らなくなったり。
Isn't that a good thing? I don't know. He might be planning something.
いや、いいことではないです。りょう様、私怖いよ。コウ様が私たちを見る目は、前とは異なっているように感じました。
Oh, fuck. Oh, maybe after having, spent that night, he's like, oh, yeah, women are the best. And we have 4 of them. Oh, fuck. Oh, tongue's gonna do something. Monsui said it seriously, and I sat there, pondering her words carefully. Like, he even said, like, oh, we should both take 2 as our wives. And and he said he was joking, but it's possible he was just testing the waters. I'll need to keep a close eye on tongue in the days ahead. After that, we trekked for 3 more days. Oh crap, I kind of forgot that I changed my choice, but now I don't know if I want to get this, I don't know how far I need to go. Well, in the daytime we kept moving, and at night, if Monsi was up, I watched her do her shadow play. I started getting the hang of it, setting up the screen, adjusting the fire, and moving the shadows around. I even picked up some lines from the 3 heroes battle Lubu. Without instruments or some more material, like donkey hides and sticks, I couldn't learn everything until we got to Shanzou. As Mansui mentioned, Tongue's been acting strange since that night he went out. Before, if a lamb needs to go, he'd never be happy about it. If he was in a good mood, he might joke about it, calling them pee machines. And if he was in a bad mood, he'd get mad not letting them go, and might even act like he was going to hit them. But now, when the lambs need to go, he'll agree with a smile, and even help Kui untie the ropes from around her waist. He also became more generous with the lamb's rations. Before, when he handed out rations, he was always stingy. But now, he's become very generous, making sure the lambs eat until they're almost full each time. He even often said, "When we get to the city of Sanzou, I'll treat you to a good meal." This really wasn't like him. It was definitely unusual. The night before we got to Shanzou, it was Tongue's turn to keep watch. I ate my rations, saw the lambs were sleeping, and figured out it was a good time to have a talk with Tongue. Tongue. I called out to him.
どうした?
He looked at me, puzzled. Let's find a quiet spot to chat. Got something I want to talk to you about. I talked to Tongue seriously, then stood up. Tongue got up too and followed me. After walking about 30 steps, we reached a spot where the lambs couldn't see us.
なんだよ、りょう。こそこそしやがって。こんな夜中に何の用だ?
Tongue frowned, tilted his head, and asked me with confusion. Tongue, I feel like something is off with you these past couple of days. Ever since you met Li Gui and Wen Xiang, you've been acting differently.
はあ? 俺は何とも思わんが、どこが変わった?
I just feel like you've been extra nice to these lambs all of a sudden, caring more than before. And I can't shake the feeling that you're hiding something from me.
お前に隠す? りょう様よ、勘違いしてるんじゃないか? 俺はな、一緒にいるうちに 気が変わったんだよ。優しくなるのは当たり前だ。何かおかしいか？
Yeah, he's very suspicious. No, being nicer doesn't explain such a big change. Tongue, we've known each other for 5 years. If you have anything to hide from me, I can see it now. There's definitely something that you're not telling me about. I looked directly at Tongue, my eyes sharp. He seemed uneasy and cleared his throat before speaking up.
わかった。そんなに知りたいなら教えてやろう。
What are you hiding? I hope he doesn't attack me like all of a sudden.
実は隠すつもりもない。落葉に着いたら話すつもりだった。リキのところでインさんがピンハネしていたことが分かった。報酬はインさんがくれた400両じゃなかった。子羊の受取人は2000両支払った。掟によれば俺たちの取り分は500両。インさんは100両もごまかしやがった。
Oh.
それでリキがある人物を紹介してくれた。落葉でそいつに会えばインさんがくすねた金を吐き出させることができるってさ。
That is actually a good reason to be happy and to be willing to spend more, because your trip will be easier and, well, you just have more money. That's a 25% increase. Tongue started to talk and spill the beans on what he had hidden from me. Insan cheated us out of 100 taels? Was that it? No. Something's still not adding up. When he spoke, he wouldn't look at me in the eye. Ooh, there's something more. Plus... Tongue, you're still hiding something from me. I might not know much about trading, but even I can tell that 2,000 taels for 4 lambs is too much. Especially during a famine when you can buy a lamb for just a few taels or a few dozen at most. Even if our lambs look better, they can't be that expensive.
知るもんか。今回は特に大金を払ってくれる乗客なんだよ。最初からそう言って。
That's not what I'm talking about. I lowered my voice, interrupting Tongue angrily. Tongue, I need to know where these lambs are headed and how they'll be treated. You've been keeping something from me. There's a reason for such a big payout. It can't be for nothing. If you don't come clean about what you've been hiding, when we reach Sanzo, I'll keep the lambs and find out myself. I got really mad at Tongue and asked him each question one by one. He looked at me, seeing how serious I was, and bit his lip. Then, surprisingly, he started laughing. Ah, shit.
りょう、どうしても知りたいようだな。
Is it gonna be swine demon shit is actually true?
実は別に話せないわけでもない。だがお前のことだ。聞いたらきっと言わなかった俺を責める。あるいはおじけづいてこの仕事を辞めてしまう。
It is gonna be the case. The girls are not gonna have a happy future, and he knows that. Tongue chuckled oddly as he spoke to me.
それに知らない方が安全なこともある。もしかしたらいつか知ってる俺が殺されて知らないお前が生き残ることがあるかも。それでも知りたいのか？
After that strange laugh, Tongue turned serious and stared right at me. This time, I saw a bit of kindness in his eyes. Even though we're both selfish wolves, we've been traveling together for 5 years. This was his last warning, really hoping I wouldn't find out. But I had to know. Spill it. Oh man, this is really interesting because I'm not gonna lie, this entire time I took Tongue as someone who's completely selfish. He's got a good working relationship with Liang because he knows that he does good work, and we've been working together for 5 years. But but here apparently he's actually showing some kindness in his eyes. We've been working for 5 years together, and he's like, I know some secrets that's gonna destroy you, possibly, definitely mentally, and possibly physically. If I tell you, it's gonna be bad, and I'm keeping this to myself. if you really want to know, I'll tell you. But this is for your. It's literally one of those. It's for your own goods for you not to know. But Liang's like, I gotta know the truth. I hesitated for a moment, then spoke to Tung with seriousness.
仕方ない。じゃあ、何もかも話してやる。
The reason I like that is because this entire time, I felt very. There's something about the relationship that really kind of bothered me. I think it's just because of the type of person that Tung is. He's very crafty. He's very bullshitty, and he's not a good person, and nor is Liang. I mean, he's trying to follow his own moral codex, but he's already done like a whole bunch of like non-moral things, while Tung doesn't really have that conscience, it seems. Tung chuckled with a mix of mockery and sadness, and then he started explaining.
実は俺たちが今回届ける子羊は金持ちの羊が引き取るんじゃなくて、ある大物の呪怨に提供される。
Shit. I guess this kind of validates Monsui's story. Birthday feast? Big shot? Now it's chance to be a big shot? Birthday feast? What does that mean?
そのままの意味さ。
Nom nom nom. Just what it sounds like? I didn't quite get it.
落葉城にとある大物がいる。高貴な生まれで異色には一生困らない。先祖代々快楽にふける日々を過ごしている。が数年前、そいつは普通のことに飽きておかしな趣味ができた。毎年誕生日が近づくと貧しい家から子羊を集めて祭神にする。
Damn, lamb dishes. I wonder if he heard this from Yin Sin or the person he just learned this from, spoke with. And the music's really unsettling. There's a lot of whispering in the OST.
リキ、インさん、そしてもう一人知らない誰かが3カ所に分かれてそいつのために人を集める。
Oh, there's one more person. 3 different areas.
その3カ所で順番になっている。毎年1カ所がその大物に子羊を売る。順番は通常変わらない。だが今年は特別で、その大物は2回要求した。リキがしばらく前に子羊どもを送ったが、そいつはインさんに追加を要求した。
Why?
リキの話では、そいつは恒例に従わず、もう一度子羊を追加で集めようと考えたらしい。
The usual way? What's the usual way in eating people?
りょう、お前は本当にバカなのか、バカのふりをしてるのかわからんな。そいつが500両で子羊を1匹買って、そのまま料理して食うと思うか?
Okay, so it's not actual. Okay, so it is definitely not actually cooking them then. Oh, but I mean, other than like some stuff that I can't really see on YouTube, I can't really think of another reason, which is, already really fucked up.
そいつは本当に腹が減ってるんじゃない?
Yeah.
そいつが人を食らう理由は俺たち貧乏人とは違う。腹を満たすためでも生き延びるためでもなく、ただ満たされない欲望を満たすためでしかない。そいつは十数年前に女に飽きて男に走った。10年前には男にも飽きて子羊に。
Oh, God.
2年もしないうちに子羊を食らうのが趣味になった。
Oh, God.
そいつは体重が3、400斤もある。 腰は水亀のように太く、大蛇に似ている。
Damn. Oh my god. To be that big during this time period is quite something.
奴は
Oh
子
god.
羊たちをいたぶり支配し、顔をすりつけてすすり泣く声、
Oh
泣きじゃく
god.
る声を自分の耳で
Everything's
間
getting
近に
blurry.
聞く。
Oh god. Yang was like, even if I'm trafficking people, at least they're gonna have better lives in this new place. They might be like maids, or maybe they'll be concubines. Either way, they'll have like a roof on top of their head, food to like get them past the famine. They'll be safe at least if they follow orders. But now he's like, I'm delivering these kids to die essentially, because whatever freaky shit this guy is into, the fact that he's cycling through them every year, and he's already had his fill this year, it means that their fates are not going to be kind.
心ゆくまで遊んだら、子羊はそいつに押しつぶされて骨が折れ、息が止まりそうになる。そこでそいつは生きたまま娘たちを食らう。まるで大蛇が獲物を食らうように。
Like, in a way, I mean, Monsui said that this person was a swine demon, and he's not like a real demon, but the way he acts is probably a way that people will probably still describe as a demon, because this shit's vile.
リキの話では、送り届けた子羊の中に反抗的なのがいたという。その大物はその子羊に怒って、これを破って殺したらしい。でも今回は心配ない。追加の口なしは見た目もいいし、物分かりも良くて喋れない。その大物はこういうのが好みだと思うぜ。
Shit, man. So like, this shit's really uncomfortable, but it's also extremely engaging, especially with the music right now. I am very interested, but I'm also extremely disgusted. Tung told me the details. Hearing what he said, I couldn't help but tighten my fists. I thought being a bandit for years would toughen me up, but just imagining what Tung described made me feel sick. Who is that big shot, really? I asked, my voice trembling as I inquired about the identity of that big shot.
りょう、お前に知らせるつもりはなかったが、ここまで話したら、お前も後には引けんぞ。
Is he gonna call him the swine
一連
demon?
卓上だ。その大物は、やることも大蛇のようだが、本人はさらに空まで届く大蛇に似ている。
He himself is a heavenly python. Ugh.
そいつは昔はもう少しで竜になるところだった。形状の皇帝ですらそいつの顔を立てておじ上と呼ぶほどにな。
Fuck. This dude is literally royalty. I don't know if they mean like uncle as in like blood related uncle, or uncle in the way where you're respecting someone. But either way, if that's true, then no matter what we do, if we fail this mission, we're kind of fucked. And if we, yeah, so, Python. Heavenly Python. I knew what Python signifies. And I knew who the person was that even the... Okay, this phrasing is a little weird. And I knew who the person was that even the emperor must address as uncle. If it's in Luoyan, then the identity of that big shot was even clearer. He's truly a towering figure, someone I absolutely cannot afford to offend.
りょう、今回の仕事をここでやめようと思うなよ。何もかも聞いたお前は最後までやらなければならない。
Damn, look at his face now. He's like, now that you know the truth, we're in this sinking ship together. You can't escape.
この仕事を途中でやめたら金はもらえないどころか命すらなくなる。 その大物は役立たずを生かしてはおかないからな。
Ah, fuck.
だからお前自身のためにも俺と一緒にこの件を引き受けた方がいい。最後の道のりで俺たちは二人とも子羊たちに優しくしてやる。死んで幽霊になって恨まれないようにな。
Oh, this does explain everything. I'm wondering if the money thing now is real too. Like if we're gonna get paid extra. Oh man, this is rough.
あいつらはあのまま家にいても飢え死にしていた。せめて最後はいい思いをさせて早く送り届けてやろう。でも俺も考えた。子羊たちが明るい顔でその大物に会ったら報酬がさらに増える。そう思わんか？
Tongue joked with me, but I stayed silent, caught in a storm of feelings. A weight pressed down on my chest, lingering. Shock, anger, disappointment, worry, and confusion churned inside me. Oh fuck. The swine demon eats people. Her sister was eaten. She seeks revenge for her sister. Now I knew. Mansui told me stories I once doubted, but most of them were true. Oh man. Sweet. Chapter 2. Shadow play. Ooh, cool. We're getting shadow play deets now. And that means in this flowchart we're on the bottom, which is nice because that's what I wanted to tackle. Grandma was buried, her body resting in the backyard. The day after her death, my brother and I each had a bowl of thin porridge before Mom put us to bed. After making sure that we were asleep, Mom quietly called out to Dad. Dad gently lifted Grandma's body from the bed and wrapped her arms in a straw mat. They carefully carried Grandma out of the house, and Mom closed the door behind them as they left. Then, right when I was dozing off, I heard the sound of a shovel digging in the backyard. Next morning, I asked where Grandma went. Dad told me, Grandma's in the backyard. I went and checked the backyard. There was a small pile of dirt with some of Grandma's favorite old items placed beside it. That was likely where Grandma was buried.
やっぱりいけない気がする。
I mean, I feel like the fact that the grandma got buried and has like a little thing here is already better than what a lot of people in this time period had.
何がいけないの？
母さんをこんな風に葬るのはいけない。
Oh, wait. Didn't the grandma say something about like, I completely forgot exactly what the term is, but it was like, was it like kill a snake, bury it by a well, and then you'll have, I don't really remember. Was it a snake? I don't even remember what you had to offer.
後で町に行って喪服と棺桶を買ってくる。最初からやり直すんだ。せめて父さんと一緒に埋葬してやらないと。
I don't know if you guys can afford it.
いくらかかるの？どこにそんなお金があるの？
食料と交換しよう。計算してみたがそれほど高くはない。半月分の食料だ。
Half a month?
半月分の食料？それは私たちの半月分の命綱なのよ。ダメ。
多くはないだろう。考えれば考えるほどおかしい。死んだ母さんをそのまま埋めるわけにはいかん。豪華にはできないが、せめて棺桶でも買って安らかに眠ってもらおう。どんなに貧しくても私たちには住む家がある。これでは母さんが浮かばれない。食料なら後でどうにかする。
I understand that Mansui loves her dad, but her dad is definitely a little bit too much of a I'll worry about this later type of person. Like when he bought like the sweet potato, he was like, yeah, I'll just work harder. And it's like when it's like buying this stuff, it's like, yeah, we'll worry about it later. We'll suffer later. That's it to Mom, his voice gradually growing louder. Not long after, the room was filled with Mom's sobbing, Dad's angry shouts, and my younger brother's crying. I stood frozen in the backyard, staring at the small mound of dirt where Grandma was buried, my hands resting on top of it. I didn't dare return to the house, afraid to confront my parents who were arguing. It didn't take long for my parents to stop talking about the burial. Oh, some officers have come over here. Oh, this person's about to whip the dad, I think. At noon, a tax official came. This tax official brought 2 official soldiers and they kicked our door open the second they got here.
食料を出せ。米ハットの食料を受け取りに
Oh
来た。
man, the mom is terrified.
食料があるなら出せ。なければ銀子を納めてもらう。
The tax official shouted loudly while the other 2 soldiers started rummaging through our house.
お役人様、家をお間違えでは正月前にお渡ししたはずですが。
隣の住人が逃げたのだ。知らんのか？
え、神家のことですか？逃げたなんて知りませんが。
神家でも王家でもいい。奴らが逃げたことは知っておかねばならん。
That's bullshit.
朝廷の法律によれば、食料を納める者がいなければ、お前からいただくことになっておる。
お役人様、そんな法があるなんて初めて知りました。
Oh, this literally is bullshit.
知るのが遅い。すべてはお上の命令だ。私も仕事をしてるだけだ。勝手を申すな。
お役人様、食料は本当にないんです。一昨年は日照り、去年も日照り、2年続けて一滴も雨が降らず、作物はとうに枯れて、うちには2人の子供もいます。毎日ろくに食べることもできず、どこで食料を借りるか考えているところで。
お頭、食料がありました。米びつの中に一隻は隠してあります。
ハッと取り出せ。
おやめください、おやめください。お役人様、どうかお助けを。これは我々の生きる糧なんです。持って行かれては。では3人に1頭ずつ差し上げますから、それでご勘弁を。
Uh-oh, they're trying to bribe the family now.
たわけ。子供を飢え死にさせたくないから多めに見て2頭の米は残してやるのだ。騒ぐな。騒げば残りも持っていく。
I heard Dad's pleading voice with the sound of the official soldiers shoving him around. They drew their swords, rummaged through our belongings, packed the grains we relied on to survive into bags, and then took those bags away. Dad and Mom were beaten by them, and my younger brother kept crying. In the end, they still took the grain away. I stayed in the backyard, crouched on the ground, and covered my ears since I was too afraid to listen. Oh, this is painful.
おのれ盗賊め、ろくな死に方しないぞ。
After the tax official and the official soldiers left, Dad slammed his fist against the wall, cursing bitterly in frustration.
さっきは棺桶を買うって言ってたけど、4人家族で2トの米じゃ1ヶ月も生きられない。祭事、炊事、私、あなた、私たち家族全員が餓死するわ。
泣くな。言っただろう。どうにかする。
何をどうするの？裏庭のお宝を売るの？
いや、母さんが死ぬ前に家宝は何があっても売ってはいけないと言っていた。
I'm very curious as to what that is.
じゃあどうするの？
前に考えたことがある。どうにもならなくなったら、父さんの形見のあれで影演劇を演じるんだ。
That's how Monsui learned about it. Dad sighed, his hand resting on the edge of the bed as he spoke to Mom.
本気なの？劇団員は最底辺の卑しい職業よ。お父さんはやっと抜け出したのに、あなたがまた演じたら。
今の状況ではやるしかない。どんなに卑しくても影演劇は一つの技術だ。その技術で食いつなぐことができるのなら演じるしかない。
でもどこで？
隣町の艦船だ。
知り合いに見られたらどうするの？
Who cares about fucking honor at this point?
こんな世の中だ。見られたって構わんさ。生きていくことが何より大切だ。荷物をまとめて今日中に隣町へ行く。何日かしたらたっぷり食料を持ってくるからな。
As Dad spoke, he began rummaging through the wooden chest under the bed. Inside the wooden box were items that Grandpa had left him for performing the shadow play.
お父さん、私も行く。
I heard Dad packing, so I hurried into the room, eager to join him. A couple of years back, Dad taught me a bit of drumming and shadow manipulating, giving me a rough idea of how to perform.
随時影演劇は卑しい身分のすることだ。してはならん。
そうよ。女の子がやる気になるなんて。噂が広まったらお嫁に行けなくなっちゃうわ。
Dad and Mom both forbade me from going after hearing that I wanted to perform shadow play.
噂は噂よ。お父さんも言ったでしょ。今は生きていくことが何より大切。私も力になりたいの。それに、お父さん忘れた？前に言ったわ。影絵劇をうまく演じるには手が4本必要だって。それに、私も花伝の技を覚えたいし。
I wonder if it's really as, you know, if it looks as bad as it does in this age. I didn't think that shadow plays or performers were looked down upon. I guess it's like the same as people playing guitar on the street. I don't know if that's similar, but I don't know. I muttered to my parents, my eyes pleading.
いいだろう。手に職をつけておくのもいいことだ。
And boy, did it help you survive. Dad sighed reluctantly, seemingly agreeing to let me accompany him. Ah. Dad and I walked out the door, heading to town on foot. Dad carried the wooden box in one hand and held mine in the other as we made our way to the neighboring town. I wonder if having a girl help him do shadow play is actually going to garner more people for sympathy. The town next to our village is called Guanquan. Despite its name meaning sweet spring, just like our village, it had also been affected by the drought, with no spring to be seen. However, Dad mentioned that during major disasters, life in the city is better than life in the town, and life in the town is better than life in the village. With more people around, there's mutual support, preventing any major preventing as many deaths or escapes. Ah, I see. So this is what it looks like. They have the fire in the front, and here we have I'm not gonna lie, Monsui as a kid is super adorable. I'm just looking at her dad. I wonder, like, I don't remember how old Liang is supposed to be. I remember he had like this little ponytail, but I kind of forgot whether or not he looks like what Monsui's dad would look like. We arrived at Guangquan town in the evening. As soon as we got to town, Dad found an open space by the street. He lit a bonfire and rummaged through the wooden box. Before long, he set up the white screen for shadow play.
寄ってらっしゃい。見てらっしゃい。影演劇だよ。武将虎を撃つ。三英傑呂布と戦う。彦星と織姫。同戦100問で開演だよ。ここで見とかないとよそでは見られないよ。
Dad called out at the street, attracting passerbys to watch the show. As he treaded the shadow puppets on the bamboo sticks, he continued his pitch to attract passerbyers. Dad's voice was a little quiet and a bit strained. Despite the bustling crowd, nobody stopped to watch. I was bored to death, so I started chatting with Dad.
お父さん、何の人形に竹串を通してるの？
呂布だよ。誰かが三英傑呂布と戦うを見たいと言ったら、すぐに演じて待たせなくていいようにな。
じゃあ私が手伝ってあげる。
よし。じゃあ張飛を頼む。
これが張飛？関羽はどれ？
これだ。
Dad worked on Lu Bu while he pointed out Guan Yu for me.
寄ってらっしゃい。見てらっしゃい。影演劇だよ。同戦100問で開演だよ。
I'm gonna be completely honest. These two people, they look like adults, but they are also very short. Dad continued threading the bamboo sticks while calling out loudly. Half an hour passed, but still no one paid any money. However, a few people did gather around. 3 beggarly-looking uncles and 2 kids who looked even younger than me formed a circle around us. I guess they are kids, it's just that like their face structure made it look like they were adults. They curiously watched Dad and our setup, but didn't say a word.
お父さん、どうして誰もお金をくれないの？
I leaned in close to Dad's ear and asked him softly.
この町の人は通のようだな。
Dad whispered in my ear.
スー？
ああ、影演劇は完全な闇夜の方が綺麗なんだ。今は日が沈んだばかりで、通は誰も見ない。
He's trying to give Monsui some hope. Dad had finished throwing all the puppets into the bamboo sticks and was waiting for the first paying audience. He gave a faint smile, appearing quite relaxed as if he didn't care about how the business was doing. Oh, more people. More people. Oh, you can see the people here now, the play. Another hour passed. It was gradually getting dark outside. The sky became quite dark, making us brighter by comparison. Still, no one paid, but there were more spectators around us. We were surrounded by 4 beggars, 3 kids, and an old grandma and grandpa who even got their own stools. But still, nobody paid any money. Dad's expression grew darker. He wasn't looking relaxed anymore. He seemed rather grim.
お父さん、誰もお金をくれないみたい。人が増えてきたわ。先に劇を見せる？
そうしよう。
Dad nodded in agreement, offering a simple response to my suggestion. It seemed like he was ready to perform. He intended to showcase the shadow play to people around and then persuade them to pay later. That is not gonna work, I think. Dad handed me the drum and crouched down to organize things. Aww, look at her. With squinting eyes, he adjusted the frame and supporting the white screen. The firelight cast a glow on the white screen, tinting Dad's face with a reddish hue. Beads of sweat formed on his temple, trickled down his cheek, and gathered at his chin. He closed his eyes and then opened them again. He took a deep breath, glanced at the onlookers, and finally began to sing.
身にまといしは黒鎧手にせる打棒は一条八早戦わん呂布宝戦今日こそ落とすその総首
Dad sang loudly while controlling Zanfei in his hand. Zanfei entered the stage on a horse, wielding the serpent spear in his hand. He darted from one side to the other, charging back and forth behind the white screen. I was captivated.
随時
Dad called out to me softly and gave me a nod. It was then I realized that he was urging me to beat the drum. Oh, damn. I quietly picked up the drum and started beating it in a lively rhythm.
馬を出して増陣入れていざいざ勝負せよ尋常に
Dad controlled Zanfei and sang another line, accompanied by my drumming. The audience cheered and applauded enthusiastically. Seemingly encouraged by the warm applause, Dad sang with even more fervor. To keep up with my dad's rhythm, I also worked even harder on drumming. The drum beat echoed, blending seamlessly with the surrounding applause and providing a rhythmic accompaniment to my dad's singing. More people? Oh.
三英傑呂布と戦うをご覧いただきありがとうございましたお気に召しましたら動線をお願いいたします
I hope to get something at least.
動線がなければ食料でも構いません何でもいただきますありがとう
After the performance, Dad stepped forward in the front of the white screen and bowed to the audience. Meanwhile, he was handing over the wooden box to the audience, hoping someone in the crowd would toss a coin or two. However, the audience exchanged looks for a few seconds before dispersing in different directions. No one gave us any food, let alone money. All that remained were scattering sunflower hulls, the dying embers of the bonfire, and the mocking waves of laughter drifting in from afar.
畜生貧乏人どもめ劇を見たのに一銭も払わないとは
There is one person here. Dad angrily muttered a curse as he set the wooden box down beside him. After performing for so long, he not only failed to earn any money or food, but also drove away the audience.
町全体が災害に見舞われ金や食料がなければ生きていけない劇を見る余裕などないんじゃ
As Dad sat there, resigned, an elderly man approached him from afar.
早く家に帰るんじゃ寒くなるぞ娘に風邪をひかせてはならん
He sighed, then walked past the white screen and placed something in Dad's wooden box. I leaned over and peeked into the wooden box. It was a perfectly intact ear of corn. Each kernel gleamed like yellow jewels under the moonlight. Aww. After that, Dad stopped performing shadow play. He packed up the items into the wooden box one by one. I helped him tidy up. Unable to find a place to sleep, we decided to spend a night in the rundown temple in town. Inside the temple was hay spread out with 3 beggars sleeping on one side and us on the other. These 3 beggars also watched the show earlier. When they saw Dad arrived, they whispered, chuckled mockingly from a distance. Dad didn't say anything. He held me in his arms without saying a word as we huddled on one side of the temple.
お父さん、どうしてみんなお金をくれないの？
I leaned against my dad and asked him with my hands grabbing his rough tunic.
どうせ100文が高すぎるのかな。50文ならくれる人がいるかな。
I clenched his rough tunic tightly.
私は高いと思う。素晴らしい劇だけど、高いから誰も見てくれないのよ。
That's probably, like, he's probably extremely discouraged and depressed at the moment. And he probably doesn't want to talk about this.
お父さん、どうして何も言わないの？
I slightly raised my voice.
もういい！
Dad yelled angrily before turning around, gripping my shoulder fiercely, as if he was going to crush it. Yeah. His shout made my body tremble violently. Coupled with the strength of his grip, I felt both pain and fear. I stared at my dad with my eyes wide open. It was my first time seeing Dad this mad. It was as if he had transformed into a different person who shared no resemblance with him whatsoever. He was petty, irritable, and volatile, completely devoid of the gentle demeanor he had shown me years ago when he gave me that sweet potato to eat. What was wrong with him? I felt aggrieved and wanted to cry. My nose tingled, and my tears swirled up my eyes for a bit before they began to fall uncontrollably.
水地
Seeing me cry, Dad suddenly panicked. The light in his eyes flickered, and the mouth twitched a few times. He then reached over and hugged me tightly, pulling me into his arms.
水地すまない。お父さんが悪かった。
I can't blame the dad at all. Because he's trying his best, but everything in life is going the wrong way. And even his last resort, where he's like, I will degrade myself to do this thing that people find insulting, and still has no results. So a little child telling him, why don't we just do this? This will make things better. Especially after you just failed. It's like, it's frustrating. On the straw mat, Dad held me in his arms and apologized to me with a crying tone tinged with self-blame. I held on to Dad and cried uncontrollably. It was as if my emotions found an outlet, and all the pent-up grievances and fears turned into tears. I didn't blame Dad. I knew it was hard for him. It had been too hard for him. That's why he was like this. Dad slept for a bit with me in his arms. I didn't sleep for long before I began asking Dad some questions out of concern.
お父さん、私、死ぬのかな？
死ぬもんか。死なせはしない。
じゃあ、お父さんは死ぬの？
人はいつか死ぬもんだ。
Can't refute that.
お父さんはまだ死なない。水地と財事を育てなければならないからな。お前たちが大きくなったらようやく死ねるんだ。
ダメ。お父さんを死なせはしない。お父さんは死んじゃいけない。死んじゃいけない。
わかった。死なない。
Alright.
死なないから。
It's not gonna happen no more. I started crying again while hugging my dad. This time, I was the one who hugged him tighter. He also responded by embracing me back, gently patting my back to comfort me. I had no idea when I fell asleep as well. I just remember lying in Dad's arms, and it felt really warm. Next day, we woke up in the rundown temple. In the early morning, we headed to the only pawn shop in Gangquan town. Dad sold the wooden box Grandpa left him, exchanging it for 500 copper coins. Then he made several trips to households in town, exchanging coins for food. At noon, Dad held my hand while carrying a basket of food as we headed in the direction of our home. On our way back, I stole a glance at Dad. He looked very tired, with a pale face and a mixture of uneven white hairs amongst his dark ones. Since when was it like this? Dad got old all of a sudden. He stopped smiling too. Oh, fuck, man. That hurts. Selection, Chapter 9. That really hurts. Okay, we're here now. There's also... Oh, specific option on Chapter 9. We're currently a third through the story. So I forgot how many chapters there were. Seems like there are 12 like main Lang chapters and then 7 sweet chapters. I see. Or maybe there's more than that and then kind of finishes off. Whew, okay. Yeah, it does look like we're about a third way through.
どうしたんだよ、りょう。なんで何も言わないんだ？ビビったんだな。やめるつもりか？
In the woods, Tongue spilled it all. After, he smirked, waiting on my answer. Did he punch him? I slammed him against a tree, arm to his neck. You son of a bitch! You didn't tell me those lambs were meant for lamb dishes. You said this job was about feeding the lambs and sending them off to rich folks as daughters. All fucking bullshit! I yelled at Tongue, muscles tensed, my face twisted in anger.
おい、なんでぶち切れちまってんだよ。俺もこんな仕事だとは知らなかった。リキの話を聞いて初めて知ったんだ。
I do believe Tongue in this because if Tongue knew about this, I don't think his attitude would have changed that much when we met Li Gui.
でも一人500両だ。俺たちじゃなくても他の誰かがやるさ。
He's playing like every excuse card possible at this point. I continue to glare angrily at Tongue, my eyes blazing with fury.
りょう、よく考えろ。俺たちは長年一緒にやってきて、ずいぶん手を汚してきた。お前に命を奪われた者は80人はくだらないだろう。確かにお前は女や子供を殺したことはない。だが男を殺せば家は大黒柱を失い、いずれ一家は全滅することになる。
I still do remember the last person that Liang killed had like a talisman or a charm that said An on it, so I know that's gonna come back eventually. They wouldn't say that specifically without it coming back. And I'm really afraid that that's gonna be Monsui's father or something.
善人ぶってんじゃねえ。直接手にかけずともどれだけの子羊を死なせてきたことか。今回の仕事もお前が直接子羊を殺すんじゃない。何の違いがあるんだ？
I stayed quiet. Tongue's words hit me hard. My determination wavered, and my arms pressing against him eased up.
ちくしゃー！りょう、あの年の形状大爆発を思い出せ！善人も悪人も男も女もまとめて吹き飛んだ！
Man, he's trying to press all his buttons. Tongue shoved me hard, breaking free from my grip.
天道とはそもそも無情なもの。善人が100歳まで長生きするとは限らん。悪人が報いを受けるとも限らん。世の中の全ては思い通りにならない。神のみぞ知るってことさ。俺たちが善人でも悪人でも死ぬときは死ぬ。だったら自分のために生きてもいいだろう。もっといい暮らしをしてもいいだろう。何が悪い？
Tongue tied it up his clothes, teeth clenched, and spoke to me with frustration. I lowered my head and pondered his words, remaining silent.
りょう、よく考えるがいい。最後にこれだけは言っておく。この仕事をすれば、栄よ栄華はともかく、こんな大物とつながることができる。もしお上に捕まっても誰も俺たちに手を出せなくなる。そいつには俺たちが必要だからな。俺たちじゃなくてもこの仕事は他の誰かがやる。 誰も逆らうことはできない。奴に歯向かえば結末はただ一つ、死あるのみ。
With that, Tongue spat and headed back towards camp. I stood there, memories of the blood rain from the 6th year of the Tiangqi flooding my mind. After that explosion, everything I cherished became meaningless. Wealth, emotions, bonds, even principles. The words I never said to my father, the ones he never spoke to me. My dreams, his dreams, our conflicts, all lost their significance. I've been living in emptiness, like a walking corpse. Should have known better. Nothing matters except staying alive. But if I never knew these lambs, their fate wouldn't concern me in the slightest. Now that I do, can I really send them to the swine demon? He's too good for this job. I didn't give Tongue a clear answer and returned to the camp alone afterwards. Back at the camp, I should have slept, but I couldn't. Watching the lambs slumber, thoughts raced through my mind. Okay, so you can see all of them. I wasn't sure if Mansui would have somehow gotten out of her rope and listened in to the conversation, because she's very smart and crafty. Hunger and Kui Those sisters were from poor backgrounds. The other one looked after the younger, who, despite her age, was quite sensible. Then there's Chiang-hua. Her father was originally a lofty official, but was exiled to the border due to political changes causing the family to fall. Despite it all, she's smart and reasonable, quite mature. Mansui, the smartest, knew it all from the start, seeking vengeance for her sister. She wasn't scared to die, and she's sharp, always aimed to go after that big shot. No, to take down the swine demon for revenge. I was not too hopeful, but had to admit, if she can keep that blade hidden and catch him off guard, that swine demon might just meet his end at her hands. After all, when she came to me with that blade, she was swift and decisive. A regular person might have been caught off guard, especially me in that other ending. Can she pull it off? If she messes up, what's the swine demon going to do to her? If she pulls it off, what chaos will that stir up in Luoyang or beyond? And then, will I be implicated for sending her there? I almost dozed off with unanswered questions. Slept about 2 hours, and then Tongue woke me up to switch shifts. We kept watch a bit longer, then hit the road again the next day. Okay, we're in a different spot now. Oh god. I knew that, like, I think I'm gonna stop here for today, but I knew Tongue was hiding something. But shit, man, that bombshell that he dropped was like, it confirmed. It basically confirmed everything Mansui said. I don't think he's a demon or this, like, entity that is, like, super natural or something fantastical. But, no, I do. You can definitely see, like, basically, it really justifies Mansui's actions and her goal. It makes, basically, Liang probably completely trust in Mansui at this point. Because she, at the very least, to Liang's knowledge, hasn't told a lie. It's only been confirmed. I am still thinking about that sister thing because of what Liang said. How it didn't feel like she was truthful about everything. But, and you know, we also got to see their past, and there's absolutely no mention of an older sister. So I am kind of curious. Man, the Mansui chapters fucking break my heart. It is really hard to get through them sometimes. Oh, man. Okay, so from what I understand, the chapters where it says clear blank, like the side chapters that says clear chapter 11 or whatever, I'm assuming that these are Mansui chapters, while the bad ends ones are here where it says choose a specific option. Yeah, so it seems like we're gonna get potentially a bad end here and 2 bad ends here. Here's gonna be 2 Mansui chapters. Actually, wait a second, are all the bottom 1 Mansui chapters? So we prologue, chapter 1, chapter 2. It might be 3, 4, 5, 6. The one choice I'm kind of curious about is here in the middle, because usually all the choices are like horizontal, but here it seems like it splits into two paths and then converges. So it's and there's also an affinity system, so very interesting. But yeah, everything in Mansui's past just fucking breaks my heart, man, because you can really feel the family's desperation, how shit the situation is. Oh, and man, that confrontation with Tong, like we knew Tong was always gonna be like very selfish and very what's the right word? Very shady, extremely shady, and he was hiding stuff from us. But now that the truth's out, or it seems like the truth is out, and seeing kind of Tong's relationship with Liang, oh man, I can really see why they work together. Once again, I think I mentioned this last time, but they actually complement each other quite well, because they basically, the two of them are completely different, but as a result, they're able to cover up a lot of different roles. Oh, but yeah, I think I'm done for today. That was a bit much, and I'll be back next time to see what happens in Sanzo. But we'll save that for next time. Until then, I will be seeing you. See ya!